we have assisted living, and we have the food bank. So we have 5 things. And so in the discussion that I've said in relaunching the ministry, I want to set it up differently, because if you don't have vision, right now, let's say we're tracking, everybody's working. Who's to say in 6 months or 2 years you will have the ability to work? It goes back to my book. How does your money work for you? For me as a pastor and turning 60, and I thank God for all of you and all of you across the nation and the world who wish me a happy birthday and all of that. My focus is positioning all of the campuses for the next 15 years. There's a 3-year goal, a 5-year goal, a 7-year goal, a 10-year goal. Most of the audience here at the first campus in Greenwood is an audience that in the next 5 or 7 years will be at senior citizen status. For me personally, in the month of June, I had the opportunity to be on a call with my financial advisor. And mind you, I'm 60. And I've already lost 20% of my Social Security. So what's going to happen in the next 5 years, and there's no return on it? I'm not getting it back. And I had a conversation with a good friend of mine. I want to welcome all of you in for joining us. We're just having a conversation. And then we're going to go into our study. I was having a conversation with a guy. And I don't think he has a problem with me calling his name. I call him Brother Paul. I mean, I love him like a brother. And he said, because he still says to me, you run me out of your yard. And I'm like, what do you mean? And I was having a conversation with Hope. And she was like, you stab me. You stab a person. And that's never my intentions, you know. And especially at 60, I don't want to go to jail for the next thing. But people say that my words sometimes are hard and very sharp. Here is the whole intent, if they are. They are there, and if I say it to you, it's to awaken your intellect, your intelligence, and your spirit. And so Paul and I have had a conversation. I think he's either 63 or 64 now. And he said, you always fall out with me, and I fall out with you. And so we have this, I guess, love-hate kind of relationship. And he said to me, he said, you always trying to prepare us for life. And I stopped and I listened. He said, you always. He said, you have put me out your yard, kicked me out for 6 months, whatever. He even named his son after me, which I wouldn't have not named my son after him, especially with that big old forehead, you know. So he said, you have tried to get us ready for life. And so I got real quiet, and I said, okay. He said, but we thought our jobs, our lives would be there forever. And at 64, he's trying to learn how to function on a computer with a GPS in the truck and with all these things in technology. And so when we discussed it more, he said, you try to awaken us and get us out of our comfort zone. And there's a series, I don't know if I'll start it Sunday, I've got to finish researching it, is the Joshua Call. I am nothing like the founder and pastor, Dr. S.L. Campbell. Nothing like her. I mean, these ministries had a female pastor for decades. You know, she did establish this one in 1952, established the one in Greenville in 1958. I'm the Joshua. Whatever your parents didn't get, you have to get. Joshua, to this day, and for those of you who are very literate in the Bible, if you could help me out, I don't even know if they talked about what portion of the promised land that he received. Ephraim and Manasseh were the 2 largest nations. Joshua's assignment was to rally those that trust and believe God. He was with Moses. See, you can't just walk into something because you have a title, and a title don't make you have the wisdom of something, of the position that you have. I have no problem with, I am never intimidated by anybody with degrees and knowledge, and I thank God that we have PhDs on the staff, we have medical doctors on the staff, we have people pursuing their doctors of divinity. That don't faze me. You know what I'm interested in? Souls and being anointed by God. You can get the proper text in the scripture and get your 5 things that you're going to say. I was brought up apostolic Pentecostal holiness. Those are my roots. I had a wonderful grandmother and a wonderful mother, and they taught me you're gifted by nature, but you're anointed by God. You are gifted. My great-grandfather, the Reverend Lud Boozer, had 4 Baptist churches in this area. That's a natural gift to be able to speak. Hope and I was talking about it earlier. She said, you could just get up and just talk to people and talk to the world and, you know, don't feel any pressure. I said, Hope, that's why I don't have no hair. You know, it is not easy. And the only thing I chase is the anointing of God for the revelation for his people. And so as a pastor at 60, been here March the 12th of 2022 will be 18 years. My movement now isn't about how many times I'm behind the pulpit, how well I can preach. I don't compete with people. I chase revelation from God. So I want to position the church and the campuses, Greenwood campus, Greenville campus, virtual campus, global campus, that the word and the participation can grow, especially now that we live in a digital world. That's my focus. Souls, we virtually, globally, nationally, internationally, local. These are the things, if I don't back up now as a pastor and start envisioning how to guide the ministry for the next 3 to 5 years, we all gonna be in wheelchairs. Health today, unknown tomorrow. Jobs today, at the food bank tomorrow. One sickness, one spell in your body can wipe out your entire savings. And so how we got to this point, how we came to this point, is this is why in doing the food bank, and thank everybody that participated and everybody that serves in ministry, don't cheat yourself out of sowing your seed in God. And that seed is more than money. That seed is service. That seed is time. That seed is worship. Don't cheat yourself out of that. So what I want to do real quick is welcome everyone to another opportunity to gain and advance our lives with successful living. This broadcast season is about don't gamble with your inheritance. And so as we position ourselves to go into August and communion on first Sunday, I want you to see what is it that you can do new and different to advance your life. What are the things you haven't started yet? What are the things that have been thoughts that need to become ideas that need now to be written on paper and to begin to strategize, to put a plan together? And then once you put a plan together, now you have to build the infrastructure to the plan. So this is why I say don't gamble with your inheritance. There are people that are gifted among this ministry and of course on the virtual campus and to the global campus. There is something that you have. I know my gift. It chose me. I didn't choose it, because if I had a choice, I think my brother here know what I'd be doing, but I didn't get a choice. There's something in your inheritance that you have to discover. Then you have a future, and then your children have a future. And let me say this, there's no college for the weak. As a parent, if you don't have a foundation, it's going to be very challenging in this time that we live in the midst of a pandemic, to have a child or a teenager or a young adult to walk in an era that you have no knowledge about. Can I make it plain? Sitting and watching a sporting event is different than being in the arena. And being in the arena is different than being on the field. Sir, you've been with a company for 30-something years. It's one thing to be on the ground. It's another thing to be looking at the truck. And it's another thing to be up in that bucket. It's a whole different view and a whole different level of stress when you're up in that bucket. If our children does not have the foundation, how can they succeed? Whipping them don't make them successful. Fussing at them don't make them successful. Putting pressure on them don't make them successful. Can I tell you why I'm strong enough to say it, why our children are not maximizing their potential? The foundation was weak. You don't have a counselor, an advisor, a father or a mother or aunt or uncle that is doing what you've done. This is what happens in colleges, and this is what happens a lot of times in community college. Most of the kids that are there are first generational college students. Am I making sense? We dress them, we put them on clothes, and the other thing, and what I mean a foundation, is the intellect and intelligence. And I'm going to say this because I am the pastor, and I was born to be, and I was trained by one of the best in the world. One of the best. There's other great leaders out there. I know there was a Dr. Jackson. It was out in Texas. There's a lot of great Bishop Jakes. But I'm going to tell you something. Our children are sinking because there's no foundation and there's no support system. You can't tell a person how to do something that you've never done yourself. Because there's a part of the process that's not in the book. Oh, I wish somebody would talk to me. Am I right or wrong? You can tell a person about going up in that truck, but until they hit that button. And so what we have to do, and what I have to do as a pastor, is not wonder how many suits and ties and clothes and cars that I can have and drive, even in my business, my own personal professional business. I got to focus on, how do I position and stabilize the ministries? How do I stop the leak in the bucket for people giving up on life? How do I awaken the gifts that you inherited? That's my prayer. Actually, I have a prayer that I wrote, and I think Sunday I'm going to hand it out, because I need you to understand what my call is. Can I speak from my heart? My call isn't that we're friends. I'm not that pastor. My call isn't that we go fishing and we buddies. My call is whatever God put in your family, that you're positioned to get your inheritance. You don't need luck. You don't need anybody's blessing. You need to get in the face of God and find your destiny. That's my call. When I said the call of Joshua, Joshua didn't hang out with Ethan and Manasseh. He didn't hang out with Dan, Glad, Issachar. His job was, what's your portion? He was such a fighter that he spoke to the sun and said, don't let it go down until I win this battle. And anybody that believed what God had promised Abram, they fought with Joshua. You got to make up your mind if you're going to be part of the millions that die or the ones that choose to live. We're at a crossroad. I embrace the unknown. I have the keys to success. Can I tell you those keys? Trust and belief. We don't talk to God enough. We just want to get something to do. And as long as we think we're moving, we think we're okay. But let me help you out. Moving doesn't mean that we're productive. I'm going to ask you a question. What has your today produced for your future? What did you do today besides earn money to pay bills to have very little left? What did you do today that will pay you down the road? Because the Bible says that he will bless your hands. Blessing your hands and just having enough money to pay for what you're going to eat this week and get your light bill paid and pay your mortgage because it's the first of the month. That's not God's plan. And I don't care who those folks that dance around with fire and snakes and spit and holler at you and tell you God going to do this for you. Shut up. God has already made me a promise. I've just got to make sure I'm locked into it. There's no reason for brothers and sisters to be competing. Ask me why. We all have a destiny. I don't need to knock you out the race. Whatever your gift is, making flower pots. Don't be ashamed of whatever gift God has given you. Take pride. I'm not afraid. I mean, I wish I could tell y'all some numbers of some people that are just really, really great and then tell you another facet of what I do, and my numbers are gaining on them. Not because I'm the best in the world, but because I am working my gift. And this is not bragging. I'm 60. I'm too old to brag. But one thing I can tell you, I can hold my own. And you have to be able to hold your own. What has God called you to? And some of you I would trade gifts for. Baking pies. Child. Every person in Hodges and Greenwood that had a hand would be eating my pie. I wish I didn't have to get out here and be on television and be across the world and all that. Man, I'd be like, shoot, 5, 25, 50, 75, 100. You talking about making it rain? Honey, I'll put on the phone at the house. I'll be, whoo, whoo, whoo. I'll be playing that music they be playing in the club. I lotion up my ankles. I get me a mirror and I go. Oh, yes, I would. Oh, yes, I would. You the man. You the man. Go, Reggie. Go, Reggie. Go. Go, Reggie. Go, Reggie. Pooh. That's right. Now I come right on in church with my suit on. And bless the Lord for blessing me. And go right back home, hope, and hit the button. There I go. Making pies. Yes. You've got to put time into your gift. So real quick, we're going to talk briefly about, and it's the same thing I just said to you. You can't be everything to everybody and nothing to yourself. What I just said is what I wrote. You have a life to live. I want you to write that. I want you to write, I matter. That's our hashtag. We've been using meet us at the house. We're going to use I matter. Broken, fallen, challenging times, conflict on the cliff. I matter. I'm going to share this with you, to the audience across the nation. God didn't bring you to a problem. that he doesn't have the solution inside of the problem. You have to have trust, you have to have faith, and a willingness to listen and watch God work through you in order to bring resolution. So I was talking, and I told them we were going to do part 2 of It's a Must. And the caveat to that is don't get stuck. I said this a couple weeks ago. The job that you work now, the environment that you're in, can it take you to the finish line? The job that you're pursuing, the career that you're pursuing, the education that you're pursuing, can this job, can this education take you to the finish line? Because right now you're sowing. The question is, whatever you're doing, will it sow back into you? Let me make it real plain. If it's 50-50, you've already lost. If it's in hope and might and maybe, you've already lost. This is what I saw this article in the Olympics that I said, and I added something to it. It said, stay away from the results. Can I talk to you briefly about that in about the next 10 minutes? What do you mean stay away from the results? Stay away from the hype. Stay away from I failed. Don't focus on the result. Maximize the opportunity in the process. Stay away from, oh, I won. Yes, you make the first, and there's a thing, and I haven't had a chance to do it. I played tennis. Golfer says you have a thing called beginner's luck. And you may be able to do a trick shot or hit something and go in. But that doesn't mean you know how to play the game. Just because they hired you doesn't mean they're going to retire you. Don't get stuck on results. Don't buy into the hype where people are telling, oh, we can't run this department without you. What were you doing before I got here? And I don't know if you saw that little post. I don't know who sent it to me, but somebody sent me a little post about a drink. And they said, this is the same drink that made me late for work. It's the same drink I'm going into work with. And it was somebody looking like Bigfoot. And they had some music on and they were switching and they had a bow in their hair. And they was like, this is the same beverage that made me late. Did you see it? But this is the same beverage I'm going into work with. See, you can't let people trick you. There's more to you. You just lack the ability to challenge yourself. And let me help relieve some of the stress. There's a couple things that you have to do. The first thing you got to do is start tuning people and things out. One of the things you have to do when you're trying to pursue something and become victorious in it, there is a circle you have to get out of. Social media, sometimes you just have to shut it off. You can't read what everybody want to write and comment on. You can't read it. It will put pressure on you that you're not able to be at your best. You cannot always listen to the noise in your job and in your career. Oh, they said that, they're going to close down in 30 days. We're going to be out of here. Where you going? And I'm going to ask you all a question. I said this to someone the other day. Are you challenging the company you work for that you don't plan to die where they have you? Have you asked HR about upper mobility? Because you only see HR as one side. You only see HR people when they talk to you with your attendance and you're late and you're on your points and whether you can take vacation. You need to talk to them about your future. How many people have come from the production floor and became leaders? Some of your companies have training programs that you don't even know about. Some of them have tuition programs you don't even know anything, because you think where you are is that's where you're going to be the rest of your life. The only thing that keeps you where you are is you. The problem is you don't want to get outside of your comfort zone. You're already in pain, so you don't want to feel failure. Failure is a part of success. Failure is a part of the process. Failure is a part of learning. Failure is a part of overcoming. Failure is a part of your ability to become stronger at something. Failure is a mind builder. It's a mentality builder. It is a crunch situation. Failure builds you more than success. The Bible uses a term. It said, girt your loins up about you. That they used to have a thing that they said in the streets, put your big girl drawers on. Put your big boy pants on. Because at this level, you're going to have thicker skin. Are you looking for acceptance? Or are you trying to accomplish your dream and your vision? You got to get out of the circle of trying to please everybody. Stay away from the hype. And let me close out with this one little bitty thing that tends to cripple a lot of people: criticism. If it's to make you better, why is it criticism? We got 4 minutes together. Would you prefer to be left stupid? Hello? Hello? Well, I believe he was talking about me. You're not that important. I think he was talking about you know. Everybody shake your head. No. And let me tell you something. God's word should find all of us. Because if you're a human being, God's word will knock on your door. See, it's always easy when everybody else's lips getting busted. Come on, we'll stand around and see somebody else get beat up. Man, he hit him in the chin, man, and man, I know that I swole. We that's what we do. Am I right? But we don't want nobody to see us. You cannot. If it's to make us better, why do we call it criticism? Let me show you what I wrote. Stay away from results. Stay away from, oh, I'm the man, I'm this, I'm that, or she that, or she that. Focus on the process. I give you a new one. Master the process. That's when you take your recipe and you take it to a company and they're able to follow it to the T. Does that make sense? So now I don't have to bake pies anymore. I don't have to bake cakes anymore. But my recipe is now being carried out. Master the process. If you master the process, you will live in the winner's circle. Simple. Ask greatness. The great Bill Russell, people ask him, what's the difference between good and greatness? And he said one simple word: effort. Everybody think LeBron, well, not everybody, because a lot of people hate him. A lot of people, look at LeBron James. LeBron James knows how to get the best out of his teammates. Do I know? Yes. He didn't make his money off of tennis shoes like Michael Jordan. I'm proud of Michael Jordan. But LeBron is the first billionaire in basketball, playing basketball. You can't be too dumb. See, if you want to be great, you got to put in the work. And that work you got to put in is when nobody's watching you. There's no cheerleading saying, Hercules, look at Hercules. Ooh, you're just so good. Can I tell you what God told me? I was asking him some questions to give me some instructions, and he just said to me, there's no college for petting. There's no college for cuddling you. Oh, it's okay. I know you failed the test. Oh, no. You either pass the test or you flunk out. Nobody's you can't stay in school because you don't want to leave. Y'all ever seen anybody get fired on a job? They couldn't stay because they got fired. And you always know it's trouble when security show up. Most of y'all jobs got security. When you start seeing security and they're not walking and, putting that key, hey, how you doing, girl? And putting that key in the thing and swiping that little card. When they just show up on the line, they're exiting you out. And they've already done the paperwork. If you want to keep your job, if you want to build your future, quit looking at everything as criticism. We don't know everything. But if you won't listen to people who know, how can you learn? Stay away from results. Oh, I got it. Oh, I passed it. That's one test. Most people go to college the first semester is easy. Just 2 plus 2. 2 plus 1. Oh, I wrote college. If you don't have good study behavior, and I'm going to give you a word, young people, do not be afraid. And this is what I say to parents. For our children in this culture, in this competitive world, they're going to need tutoring. And I'm going to say something to you, and I'm going to close out. I had asked God, and he hasn't removed it from me. And I hear people all the time say, oh, my kid's not dumb. My kid's smart. My kid's smart. Here's the thing. They're not prepped. Now, let me say this. Can I make it plain? I'm going to shorten the story. Yes, your kid can make an A. Yes, your son, your daughter can make an A. But what happens when 45 other people who took the same test made an A? And they sit down and talk to your kid about culture, and your kid all in their feelings and emotions. They're not cultured, not cultivated. Yes, you planted a seed. They have your DNA. But God gave me this, and you'll hear this come back. And I'll give you this up front. Now, Lord, let me see if I can find it. It's the P group. I got it right here. It's vision keys. They are not prepped, prepared, processed, poised, and positioned. I'll give them to you again. Yes, your kid. I take my granddaughter. I don't want her just to be smarter than the kids in her class. Who said he's smart? And I looked at her and I said, who said she's smart? Listen, I care nothing about people giving you an A on the test. Some people got A's, they ain't earned nothing. They just gave them an A to get them out of that. Nobody left behind. They really meant that too. We're going to find a way for you to get out of here. You cannot be 13 in the 3rd grade. Some of y'all know I'm talking about old school. You know, I think my son said he went to school with somebody. They were in middle school. He was only one old enough to drink beer, and he was in middle school. So do the math. But see, they changed all that. You know what I'm talking about? How you be 8? How do you be in the 7th grade with a beard? So here's what I'm saying. If they are not nurtured correctly, then you haven't prepped them. So they don't have a foundation. And so what I did with my granddaughter is I wanted her not to be smarter than the kids in her classroom. I don't know about them kids. I don't know nothing about their parents. I want to make sure she can compete on a national and international level. Now, what I want to say to you, read between lines. I don't want her to beat you. That ain't hard. You got it now, right? You know, it's 12 of y'all in the class. I don't want her to beat you. That's not real life. That's not a test. I want her to compete on a national and international level. If she can do that, now you can say she's smart. And if she's smart, she still has to be prepped. What do you mean? We send our kids to things and put them in things they're not prepared for. They don't understand the pros and the cons and the values. They don't understand. Listen, and this is a true story. There was someone that said, well, you know, I quit school at 15 and got a job in the factory, and I was ahead of everybody in my school. All right. They woke up at 32, and everybody that went to school was ahead of them, and they didn't even have a GED. And I said to them, you can keep that job until you get new management, because when new management come in and go through your employment file and they don't see no GED, they don't see no credentials, you're going to have to get out of there. Hello? It's just like the men's Olympic team in the 400 breaststroke or something. They hadn't lost since 1992. Oh, yeah, they're going to win. They're going to win. I don't know who they was racing, but they sure got the snot knocked out their nose the other night. See, because it's not about being smart. Most of our kids are smart. Are they prepped? So when you walk in the room and you're the only one. You can't walk in certain rooms at this high level. Y'all, me, you know what I mean, player, you know, that's the idea, man. Cool, man, you know. Who that girl is over there? Hey, y'all, come on. Come on, don't act like that. What's the word? I call it bout it. They holler about that life. I'm about that life. What life? Getting knots and cuts on my head, busted lips, fighting every time I'm in the parking lot, shooting at somebody going down the street over $2. Over some Boone Farm strawberry wine? Fighting over pennies and chicken heads and over men that don't have no job and no insurance. I wouldn't want to be an undertaker right now, 'cause I ain't burying nobody for free. Do I know? I know it. I can't be no undertaker, because I'll be cremated. I cremate you now. Get your boys. I need about $2,000. I stack you on top of each other. I want your children and you to understand it's not about being smart. Most of us are. Are you prepared? Are you prepped? In other words, prep means, do you have the ingredients? Do you have the culture? Do you have books in your home? Or is your TV just on certain stations? Do you have reading time in your home? Or is it he cute? Oh, girls gonna like him, boys gonna like her. Oh, look at her. Oh, she gonna be fine. Look at her hair, look at her eyes. And he laughing because he's 60-something years old. He knows exactly what I'm talking about. Am I right? Don't nobody want that one with that little plait stuck on their head. We want our kids to be popular. I take a nerd any day. And I praise my granddaughter. I'm old. It's bad when you're old and find out you're a nerd. Hello? Y'all still out there? I'm about that life. No, man, this is who I be, man. This is who I be. Broke, dumb, stupid, and ugly. I'd rather be short, chunky, and bald and be able to write checks and pay cash and have something work for me and make me money. Because if I had good hair and pretty eyes, my eyes are swollen now, so I barely can see. I wear glasses. And then my hair gone, I'd just be out the game. Don't look at me like that. Y'all know somebody in high school, you've seen them. They're like, you know me? I'm Tommy. You're like, I think people look at each other like, we just saw somebody like that yesterday. People, you be in the grocery store, you be like, you know who I am? Teeth gone. Yeah, you used to like me. Let me do the... We went together in the 3rd grade. You're like, thank God I ain't in the 3rd grade. Am I right or wrong? And then if you recognize them, the next thing, can I get a ride? Look at it. I guess, y'all say, Pastor, that read the Bible. Am I right or wrong? Can I get a ride? How you doing? Where you live? I don't have a house. I live under the bridge. Let me hold something. Look, I got to hold what I got. Because obviously whatever you had couldn't hold you. And if I give you mine and you can't hold your own, you definitely can't hold mine. Am I making sense? Because $5 ain't going to help you. 20 ain't going to help you. 100 not going to help you. Build the culture and cultivate learning. Learning isn't sugar. Learning and teaching is prep. Build a culture. Because when your sons, your daughters, your grandchildren are tested, what do you have to encourage them? And I'm going to say this, besides the color of your skin. That's why my grandmother sent me from the South. I want my kids, and I'll talk about my grandson with his, I need to choke him first, but my granddaughter, I don't want you to go in and be like, well, I'm a minority. You ain't a minority. You're a human being. And if you fail, I'm going to be there to support you. And I'm going to tell you, you can get up. And we don't quit. That's the Joshua call. We don't quit. Yeah, we fail. It took me 8 times to get my driver's license. We don't fail. What I be looking like to my, y'all gonna give me a ride back to Greenville? We don't quit. We figure it out. And that's why this ministry is for real people that need real talk. Real talk to real people. This is a place to build your life. There's no thrones and no castles in here. This whole ministry is about building a better you so you can build a better future for your children. God bless you. I'll see you soon.